What are the 5 things you need to know when raising money for a mission trip? Stay tuned, you'll find out. Welcome to another Sit Down Saturday with Ben here on the Bowden Experience, and I'm really excited today because, last week we talked about why do you do mission trips, why do you go on mission trips, and all those different factors and those 3 things we need to remember. Well, this week I decided let's talk about what are some tips and what are some things that we need to remember when you're raising money for mission trips, and something that I've even gathered through going to class, talking with professors, meeting with missionaries, different things that they do in order to have the most successful but also honoring to God way of raising money. And so there's 5 things, but first, the number 1 thing, and it's probably honestly the biggest thing, and you actually probably hear it at the end of this little video, is number 1 is prayer. And I know you're like, wow, Ben, that's just common sense, Ben. You should know that. And yeah, you're right, it is common sense, but you can't do this on your own. You can't go on a mission trip on your own. You can't raise money on your own. You can't do most things that you need to prepare yourself for on your own. And that's why it requires us to not only dig into God's Word like we talked about last week, but we need to be in prayer before you even start the process of trying to raise money, before you start the process of going, all right, how do I get the right funds? How do I choose the right airline? And all these different things that come into this category of even stress and of unknown, is you need to have prayer. And that kind of leads into number 2, and we've talked about number 2 last week, and that is, number 2 is know your why. And knowing your why can be one of the hardest things, I think, because I think sometimes, we go into this, mission trip with the idea of, we're going to do this, we're going to serve God and everything, which is great, and we talked about that last week, and that's what you want, but it's also knowing your why. My why to go to Hungary is not just to coach sports. It's to spread the gospel and to share the gospel with as many people as I can. And so I think knowing your why, and I've had a couple professors, I've also had a couple people I've talked to tell me that knowing your why means you write it down. You don't just guess with it. You don't just, one night you wake up and you're like, oh, that's my why. No, you think about it. You pray about it. And overall, you'll get your why, and that way, when you start raising your money, and when you start going down that path of getting to those funds you need to go, people know your why. And that goes into the third one. And number 3 is draft a letter. Draft a letter. My mom has been great at this because she helps Dad and myself draft a good letter, make sure punctuation, make sure grammar is good. Thank you, Mom. We love you. But it's something that you need to do before you just go ahead and send out a letter. And drafting a letter can be, what are you going to be doing? What is the mission of either the organization or whatever you're doing in that country or in that state? What are you doing in order to then look back at your why and know why you're doing it? And so I think drafting a letter is a key importance because it covers a variety of different things. And that leads us into number 4. Number 4 is know the list. And what I mean by know the list is know the people that have impacted you, that you would love to send a letter to, that you would think that might want to support you. And that to me is one of the biggest keys, because it's not just your family, it's not just your friends, and those are great, don't get me wrong. I send letters to them all the time. But it's the idea that you have people outside of your friends and family, maybe it was at church, maybe it's at college, maybe it's someone that you've met that you go, they've had an impact on me. And I want them to see that the impact they've had on me has spread and is now letting me go and do things for the gospel. And that's what I really think is important, is knowing your list. And again, it's a process. This is not a quick process. And by no means am I saying that this is going to be always working, because it doesn't always. And this leads us into number 5. And I believe this one is the most important one. And if you don't get anything else out of this video, if you don't remember anything else out of this video, I want you to remember this, and that is have faith. Have faith. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's raising support is stressful. It can be tough at times. And that again involves number 1, and that involves prayer as well. You need to pray and have faith. And I've seen God do some crazy things. Support. He's allowed support to come in right before we leave to go to Hungary every year, and it's kind of crazy. But again, if we go to God's word, He knows what He's doing. He knows what's supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen. And so my encouragement and honestly, what I want you to get out of this is that when you raise money for a mission trip, it's not going to be something that's super simple. It's not going to be something that is just going to happen. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I get it. But in my experiences, it's never that easy. But honestly, at the end of the day, I've got so much gratitude and satisfaction from the fact that God has supplied all of our needs. I'm able to go to another country, share the gospel, and I get to see God's hand in everything. And that is what makes the difference. And so I hope that this video has given you some encouragement, and that you shouldn't get down. You shouldn't think that life's at the end if you're not raising support right away, because it's not. God's got it. God's got it in control. And so again, thank you for sitting and letting me just share 5 tips, 5 things. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not saying these things are all the right way. This is just from my experience and from people I've talked to. So by no means do I say this is the perfect thing and the perfect plan, because it's not. But what I do know is that if you have faith and you pray, all of this rest of this stuff will come into motion. And so thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you've enjoyed that video, why don't you go ahead and click that thumbs up button. That thumbs up button allows me to see that you've enjoyed the video, you've enjoyed the content, and then you might want to see future videos looking similar to that. And then also, why don't you hit that subscribe button? The subscribe button, you can get to see all different kinds of videos that I get to make and have fun making. And that really helps me build an audience so that way I can keep making videos. And finally, if you would like to follow what's going on in my life, which if you want to, you can. If not, that's totally cool too. But if you would like, and the shirt's falling apart, if you would like to do that, go ahead and go to Instagram and follow me at BigBen_6. I'll leave a link in the description as well on the screen here. And also you can follow Facebook, which has a lot of my different travels, different teaching things, and that's at Benjamin Bowden. So you can go ahead and follow that. That will also be in the description and in this video as well. And I hope that maybe, your day was not just a toss-up, but it was a day that really was rejuvenated, and hopefully I brought a little bit of joy in this video. So again, we'll see you next time.